Hello and welcome back to the Podcast Cafe. In today's Espresso Shot quick bite episode, we are talking all about if your podcast isn't selling for you, this is most likely what you're missing. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Podcast Cafe, where we're serving up everything you need to know about podcasting, from tips, stories, and strategies for podcasters from podcasters. I'm your host, Haley Hayhurst, the founder of Espresso Podcast Production, a full-service podcast agency helping business owners, creatives, and thought leaders launch and grow their shows. Whether you're just starting out or want to take your podcast to the next level, this is the place for you. Each week, we'll dive into practical tips, actionable strategies, and of course, stories from other podcasters so that you can build up a podcast that you love and that works for your business. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's get started. Welcome to the Podcast Cafe. In my new Espresso Shot series, this is only the second episode I've done of this new series. It is a quick, bold hit of strategy to help you grow your podcast and your business. Today's mini episode is for any podcaster or business owner who is wondering, why isn't my podcast converting into clients? Oh, I know this can be a really frustrating one. So if your podcast isn't selling for you, this episode is going to show you exactly what is missing. I want you to know that your podcast is not a failure. It's not failing. What you're missing is funneling. Your podcast is not failing. You're just not funneling. When you shift your strategy, everything can change for your podcast. Let's start with the most important thing. Your podcast isn't just content. It can be a selling, trust-building asset for you. So if it's not converting, it's most likely for one of these three reasons. I've worked in the podcast industry for the past 7 years, and this is what I see a lot of podcasters missing. So you're not treating it like a funnel, like a sales funnel. Maybe you're putting more effort into different parts of your business, but really your podcast can be selling for you. You're not speaking to your ideal client or their buying journey, so you're missing the mark on the content that you're putting out. And then you're not making the next steps clear. If people don't know what to do, oh my gosh, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to keep consuming and not making any moves into your actual funnel or what you want them to do next. Think of it this way. Would you walk into a store that is beautifully designed, but there's no one to greet you? There's no signage of, what the business is called. There's no cash register. There's no idea what's for sale. It's just like a cute store, like an Anthropologie, but, it's just all designed and not actually for you. Like, you're like, is this for sale? What is going on here? You probably wouldn't buy anything. You probably wouldn't even go in, to be honest. But that's what a lot of podcasters are doing. They're building these beautiful podcasts with beautiful branding, beautiful SEO, but there's zero direction for what happens next. You're missing the mark on the actual sales portion and inviting people into your brand. So let's break it down what you actually need your podcast to do to be able to convert for you. Number one is have a clear offer and a path to purchase. So cool, you're talking about social media on your podcast because you're a social media manager. Do your clients know that? Do they know that you're not just a social media expert? Do they know that you actually sell something? Do they know that they can work with you? And beyond that, do they know what to do? Are you telling them about your calls to action, your freebies, your offers? And do you just clearly lay it out for them? Talk about your offers like you believe in it, not just in your outro, but naturally within your episodes. Share client results, share case studies, share your way of working with people throughout your episode, because then people will know, okay, this is a clear offer that they have. Maybe I should look into this more. Number two is intentional episode strategy. So are you solving the problem of your audience that they are facing right now? Whenever I work with new podcasters or established podcasters who are looking to grow their brand, I always ask them, what is your audience caring about right now in the season that they're in? So I have a client who's in the bridal space for bridal seamstresses. And do you think in the middle of their busiest season, they want to hear about tips for cleaning their office to make sure it's sparkling and nice? No, they care about that in their off season. They want to set up their off season, set them up for success for their busy season. In their busy season, they're going to want to hear about tips for managing stress or how to not burn yourself out, or just fun stories that other seamstresses are going through. That's what they're caring about. So are you talking about the topics that your audience wants to hear in the moment that they are in it? If you're a business coach, if you're talking about hustle, hustle, hustle in the month of December, you're missing the mark. Most people I know in business want to slow down during that part of year. They want to spend it with their family. They don't want to be in this hustle mindset. Whereas in the summer or spring, they do. Okay, think about what your audience cares about as at that moment. Another way that you can intentionally structure your episodes is using the episodes to overcome objections before they even get on the sales call. So I offer podcast strategy sessions. During my episodes, I can always talk about, my strategy sessions will make sure that every podcast episode is aligned to your business goals instead of just putting out episodes that no one cares about. And if you are wondering, okay, how do you know? How do you know that every episode is going to make sure that it's moving in the right direction? Well, I've been doing this for the last 7 years. I've worked with lots of different industries, all in the business space. I always look at what you have to sell before giving you any advice or strategy. And I look at the data as well as competitive research. So there's lots that I look into before telling you, yeah, you need to do this, this, and this. No, it's always strategy backed. So use your episodes to overcome objections that you get all the time in your business, because if they can hear it when they're not on the call, that already answers their question. And speaking of intentionality, before we move on to the next section, are your episodes titled with intention? Are they searchable? Are they clickable? Do people actually want to listen? Making sure that, we talked about making sure that it's the topic that they want to hear, but is the title doing that episode justice? So if you're only creating content for the fun of it, or you're just putting out episodes because you think that's what your audience wants, you're missing a big chance to lead people to trust you and then eventually buy from you. And the third thing that I see a lot of podcasters miss the mark on is their strong calls to action. Are you guiding your listeners, or are you just saying, leave a review? Come back next week. Great podcasts give listeners something to do. Try stuff like DM me this word for the resources I talked about today, or DM me this word if you want to learn more about what it would look like to work together. Or this one works well. Download my checklist to make sure that XYZ. Fill out my quiz. Find your XYZ by doing this quiz. Or book a strategy session and make sure that your podcast is converting. These are stronger calls to action than just saying, leave me a 5-star review. It means a lot and helps other people find the show. Why do they care if other people find the show, honestly, if they're not bought into your brand? That's not really giving them next steps. Whereas, click the link in the show notes to join my email list is a next step. And the next thing I really want to dive into is making sure that the people that you're selling to in your podcast are the same people that you would want as clients. So if you're talking about, this is a big one that I see. If you are a mindset coach and you are talking to problems that your level of clients are not at, so let's say you want to work with scaling 6-7 figure entrepreneurs, but the topics that you're covering are, overcoming imposter syndrome to post on social media for the first time. That is a different issue than what you're wanting to solve. So you might think, yes, I'm putting out mindset episodes, but make sure you know who you're talking to and create episodes for them. This is just building on that step I shared before, but it really comes down to that because you're going to be selling to them the problems that they want solved, that they need solved. I'm 5 years in business, so I don't need help on how to create an offer and post about it on social media. Now I need help with hiring and making sure that I don't burn myself out. Those are more problems in the mindset side that I would need answered rather than how to post on social media and show your face for the first time. So yes, it might be helping people, but are you helping the right people that are going to buy from you? And then just selling often. If I was talking about, let's say, metrics like the bonus episode last week, I could be saying in my podcast accelerator or in my quarterly calls with my clients, we go over X, Y, and Z. That's a way of selling without being straightforward of like, buy this from me. It's like, I have this offer. You can learn more about it, just build interest. So here's my action steps for you for the week. Go look at your last 5-ish episodes and ask yourself, did I speak to the pain points of my ideal clients? Did I share stories or results from my business or my clients' businesses? Did I make an offer or give them next steps to actually move? If you're confusing your audience or they don't know what to do next, you are going to be missing a huge opportunity to actually convert them to clients or getting deeper into your world through an email list, social media, whatever it is. So if you did not do those things in your last 5 episodes, I want you to start there because your podcast can be your best sales tool. It just needs structure behind it. Thanks for listening to this Espresso Shot episode. If you found it helpful, come find me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram. The links are in the show notes. I share tons of more podcasting tips and tricks over there. And if you're ready to make your podcast convert, I have VIP strategy sessions open. Just click the link in the show notes and let's go from there. So I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me in the Podcast Cafe. I hope you're leaving with fresh ideas and inspiration to take your podcast to the next level. Remember, podcasting is a journey and you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Let's connect. Be sure you follow me on Instagram at Espresso Podcast Production or visit espressopodcastproduction.com for more tips, resources, and behind-the-scenes insights. I'd love to hear about your podcasting journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more podcasters just like you find the show. Until next time, grab your coffee, keep creating, and I'll see you back here in the Podcast Cafe.